Hey everyone, this is Jules. So I want to share my project for Discount Paper Crafts. This is the round 2 project. I'll show you a little clip of the video when I opened up the package with all the stuff out. Oh, wow. Huh. Okay. Well, I already see, looks like a couple of eggs, a basket. Seriously, some screws, bolts, and mask or tag. Oh wow. So, no way. Oh, it's a cable tie. Okay, so it's wiry. So it's a flexible thing. Organizes your cables. Okay, so it's a... Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So there's a wire in it. Wow. So the first thing that we got was the pail. The pail is a little metal bucket, and it's got these handles up on the sides. And this is the pail, and this is the actual color. I didn't change the color at all. What I did to the pail is add I have a couple things that are not adhered, so things are falling out. But what I did to the pail is I added a kind of a collage look with one of the new paper lines that came out by Prima. It's called Lyric. So I added some Lyric paper. Then I used some scraps from the Divine A4 pad that I have for some flowers, but I cut the pail to split it in the front. So I just took my tonic scissors and I cut a split, and then I cut those flaps I cut in half and then just bent them back so that they had this grunged up look of it being completely ripped up. So you'll notice on the pail how it's cut and split open. I had, at this point, I took off the handles because I wasn't going to use that at first, but because there was room to put them back on, I ended up just collaging, like wrapping paper around the handles, and then I glued them back on to the pail so it had some handles on it. And I used some E6000 to put that back, but here I'm just collaging the entire pail with the Prima paper. And being that there was some gaps and stuff there, I wanted to break it up a little bit with some of the craft paper. And this is from the tag that came in the package. I just filled in the gaps with it, edged it and stuff. And I did use a die cut. I did die cut a piece for wings for my butterfly from this tag also. So it wasn't really wasted at all. Two of the requirements that we had to make sure that we incorporated was distressing, like roughing up our paper, and then ink distressing. So we ink the edges of our paper to give an outline, which you can see on some of the flowers right here. So that's what I did with the pail. In the inside of the pail, I added some straw, which is some of this here sticking out. You can probably see a little bit right there, but most of it is right back here. It's some moss that is basically just straw. So I added another strip of the black fabric mesh, and I lined the bottom of the pail, and then I added the straw along the back side, and there's just a couple little pieces just sticking out of the front. And then I set the little ball of the craft paper. And here's a little clip of that. So here I just kind of did a lining, kind of did a nest actually, and then the mesh is underneath that. And I'm just tucking it down, or tacking it down so it stays adhered around the edges. And then just going to arrange it a little bit. I want it to look like it's spilling over, it's dying, it's decaying. And then the flowers are going to like fall out and stuff. So here, this is the craft paper ball that I made. And I just hot glued the mesh down with just little bits of glue in here and there. And then closing it all up so that I can tuck it inside the bucket. And I did use just packaging tape just to hold my craft paper ball together. Here, I'm just going to nestle it down. I did it at an angle, leaning it down. On top of that, I went ahead and just I use a Spellbinder's die, and I die cut out several pieces of this branch here, and I inked it up, and I just kind of laid it down on there, so it just looks like it's a dried up pot of flowers, with some greenery showing. And I just wanted to have peaks of the black fabric and the craft ball kind of showing through it. So that's what I did with the inside of the pail. Then I made some handmade flowers. So using some Prima paper from the... Actually, I did grab another 6x6 paper from the Lyric collection, and then I had some pink left over. Actually, the pink one is from the Lyric collection. This green one down here is from the Divine collection. So I cut basically some 2x2 squares, hand drew out a flower shape, and then I cut several of those out to have a 2-layer flower here. And I cut out some stars out of some green AC cardstock, American Craft cardstock, and did the bottoms of the flowers down here. And then I have a punch that's a starburst, and those work as my centers and floral sprays here. I also actually did a hand embossed bordering, I guess you can say, or manipulating the edges of all the petals to it, so that it would have this look. And you can see the lines and the veins of the petals on all 3 flowers here. So all that, and I added wire stems and with some floral tape, and I just put them together and tied it with my ribbon. This is some of Patsy's ribbon, and just laid it down on top of the pail across it. Then I made 2 larger flowers that I did the same technique with. These are 3x3 squares that I drew out my flower, and made these 2 flowers that I tied with some black ribbon. And then on what I did is a couple of the gears are sitting as the base of those flowers. You can see that right there, and you can probably see it in the pictures a little bit better too. Adding some Wild Orchid Crafts leaves to it to kind of give it more of it being a flower with, the stem and stuff on there. And the base actually also has the star-shaped bottom for the flowers. So there's 2 of the gears there. I have a floral spray tutorial. That's kind of how I got the idea to make my own flowers with their own stems. And so in our package, we also got a couple of styrofoam eggs. And those eggs I covered with book paper. And I cut them almost in half, just the smaller end, and then I left a bigger end, and I made mushrooms out of my styrofoam eggs. There's another little mushroom there. The bolt that was in my package is the stem here that I wrapped in paper, and you can see the lines here. They're a little bit, you can see they're kind of noticeable there. There's the bottom part. And I just dug a hole and I stuck the bolt through. And inked it a little bit more, punched out some paper and added some liquid pearls, and I made my little dots on my mushroom, and I made 2 of them with it. So this is the egg, the larger side of the egg, and I kept cutting down so that it would be a different size, and then I made this one here back there, but that one's kind of stuck down into the paper. And the smaller end of the eggs are the centers of these flowers here. The gears, so there's 2 gears under these 2 flowers, and then there's a gear right there in front of the clock. The clip is what this whole thing is. It's holding on. This is the clip part. I got a pack of the frames, and this is the smaller frame. I used some grunge board to make a banner. Make sure I don't drop anything out of my pot. So also made a banner back here, and this is out of the grunge board, and this is from the collection, the Lyric collection. It says grow, and using some twine from American Crafts, some pink twine that went with the collection. And then back here is another gear. This black round thing is the washer, the big large coin looking thing. is sitting back there, and there's just I just paper punched some from the collection, a piece of paper from the collection, and that's what's sitting behind the gear. I painted the gear black. I covered the big washer with some of the black lace paper from the collection, which is like this one here, and edged it with some black paint. I also painted the larger frame, and here that is there, and some more grunge board banner in the back right there. Added some lace to give more of that grungy look using the element of the color, and then it being girly with lace, that's kind of a no-brainer there. And then we were supposed to transform our mystery item into something else, and I didn't want to use it. I didn't want to use the entire thing because it's just a long piece of rubber. So what I did is I grabbed the head of the crocodile and I cut it off. I painted it, added pearls for eyes, and it's my mutant butterfly. It's a goofy looking butterfly, but I did transform it as per our requirements. And I just cut this from the Tim Holtz movers and shapers die. This is the butterfly. So I just cut the wings off and took the body off because otherwise the wings would have been way closer together. So in order to spread it onto the sides, I just took the little body part off, cut the wings off, and stuck it over on the sides of the head here of the crocodile, and he is, or she is, my grungy mutant butterfly. So that then I added some Wild Orchid Crafts flowers. There's a little bundle there, and there's a bundle here, and some Prima flowers in the blue that matched the bucket. And there's some kind of growing under the flower here. Some more of the little ones, and some of the blue flowers there. I decided to put my mushrooms under these two because mushrooms kind of grow where it's wet, and where the sun doesn't really shine too much. So I decided to put my mushrooms underneath my flowers. And since they're really big flowers, there's a lot of shade under there. So that is my bucket and my altered project. And I hope you guys liked that. I've had a lot of fun. I did not make it to round 3, but that's okay. I had tons of fun. So Cathie and Linda, thank you so much. I really, really, really did have a lot of fun. And good luck to the winner. And I will talk to you later. Jules signing out of the Jewel Box for Discount Paper Crafts Challenge event 2013. Bye, everyone.